Okay, so welcome back to our screencast. This is going to be part 2 of 7.4 assembly for IED, and we're going to continue with assembling the train. We last left off with putting 2 wheels on the train, and so now we're going to put the other 2 wheels on the train. So let's grab our train and our wheels, kind of get them all in the same frame here and get them as close as you can together. So now if you notice that the wheels here are not pointing the right direction, so I'm going to free rotate the wheel so that it is pointing the right direction, and I'm going to do some aligned inserts again. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to hit aligned, and I want that axle and I want this particular axis. Now remember from last time we have to put in an offset, and 0.2 seems like a good offset to get that where it needs to be. So I'm going to hit OK. There's my third wheel, and now I'm going to free rotate the fourth wheel, make sure that that is pointing in the right direction, and I'm going to bring it over here a little bit closer to the train, and I'm going to do another aligned insert. So I do that, and there, and offset it of 0.2. And now I have my train wheels in place. And you can kind of move your mouse around to make sure that all of your train wheels rotate, because like I said, that's going to be important later. So I'm going to hit the home button, and as you can see, our train is coming together. So I'm going to move this over here, and now I'm going to bring in some more parts. So the next thing that the train needs is it needs some axles. So if you have 4 wheels, you're going to need 4 axles. So I'm going to bring in 4 of the axle pegs. So I hit open, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hit escape, and I'm going to use the insert tools, insert constraints to get these in again. So I want the hole there. So if I zoom in to there, it's kind of hard to see because it's all black, but it'll still work. And then there we go. Now you'll notice that the axle is sticking out. So once again, I'm going to use my offset. Now I used a positive offset last time to bring the wheels out. This time I'm going to use a negative offset. So I'm going to hit negative, and we'll try 0.4. Okay, that's not enough. So I'm just going to keep going up by tenths until it gets all the way flush with the train body, and it looks like it's going to be about negative 0.75. So I'm going to hit OK. And there's still a small gap in there, but we can deal with that a little bit later. So I'm going to constrain, and I'm going to go insert again, make sure that I get the dotted lines, and I'm going to hit negative 0.75 and bring that on in. And now I'm ready to move it around and do the back side. Now you notice that my axles kind of get lost a little bit. So I'm going to bring these back over to this side where I can actually work with them. Okay, so let's constrain these other axles. So I'm going to go insert again and make sure I get the axis, negative 0.75. And I'm going to do the same thing then with my 4th axle. So as you can see, once you get one of each of the parts down then it kind of comes together for the other 4. Now, see, if I look at the train straight on, I notice my axles are still sticking out a little bit. So I can go back over here to my browser and adjust the offset. Let's call it negative 0.8, and we'll see how that looks. Still a little bit of a gap, but not nearly as bad as it was. So I can live with negative 0.8. So let's change the rest of these. Okay, number 2, and I hit the plus, and number 3, and I'll hit the plus again, and there's number 4. So they're sticking out slightly, but not really too bad. So let's go back to the home screen. Okay, next up is going to be the linkage arms, and we need 2 linkage arms. So I'm going to go to place, and I'm going to find my linkage arms, which are right there, train link arm. Okay, so I'm going to bring in 1, and I'm going to bring in 2 of those. Now, the linkage arms are going to go on the little pegs here on each of the wheels. So let's try to put those on. Now, I don't want insert on these because I'm going to want these to be able to move around when I move the train wheel. So instead of insert, I'm going to go with mate. So I want that there, and I want that on that linkage arm. Now, if you notice, nothing has really changed yet, but I can kind of swing this back and forth. So I'm going to go mate again on the other one, and if I've designed things correctly, then they will lock into place. Now you say, okay, well, that looks great. However, you notice that the linkage arm can still rotate, still has that degree of freedom. So I'm going to come underneath here, okay, and I'm going to mate the side of the linkage arm to the side of the train wheel. So there's 1 mate, and then all I need to do is see a little sliver there, and then there's that arrow, and I'll hit OK. Okay, so it doesn't like that particular relationship. So again, as you've seen, a lot of this is some trial and error. So let's do a flush then, or let's do a tangent on the bottom of the wheel with the side of the linkage arm. There we go. That looks, no, that does not look right. Yeah, I don't want that. So I'm going to undo that. And we may have to kind of live with the linkage arm being like that, although I don't necessarily like how that goes. But as you can see, our wheels are turning with the linkage arm. So, and you can do the second linkage arm then on your own. And then the last couple steps are to insert the linkage pegs and the hitch magnet and the hitch pin back here on the back side of the train. So I think I've shown you enough assembly here with the train, and you can figure out the rest of that going forward.